Hi students, today we're looking at the lesson Circumference of a Circle, and the good news about this lesson is it is very simple. I think you will like it a lot. We're continuing on with geometry, and your learning target is I can describe how to find the circumference of a circle, and you will need actually you won't need a ruler, you'll just need a pencil, a calculator, and then these notes to go along with the lesson. So first of all, let's review just real fast. If I have a square and I want to find the distance around the side of the square, there's a word that we use in geometry to describe the distance around an object. And do you remember what that is? Starts with a P. It's perimeter. And perimeter is the word that we use just to describe the distance around shapes, except for circles. And circles are the only ones that are different. We don't use the word perimeter for circles. Instead, we use the word circumference. And circumference is basically the distance around the outside of a circle. The outside of a circle. All right, so if we're looking at this circle, the circumference would be this dark blue line. I'm not drawing it perfectly, but it would be this distance around the circle. All right, and it works just like normal distances work. Would this perimeter, or I'm sorry, not perimeter, would this circumference be greater than or less than this circumference? Well, this circle right here is bigger, so this circumference would be smaller and this one would be bigger. That's just logical. What about this one? Would this circumference be bigger or smaller than this circumference, this first circumference? It would be smaller because the circle is smaller. So it works just like perimeter does. And you're just focusing on the distance around the circle. That is what circumference is. And the nice thing about circumference is it has a really simple formula. All circumference is, this is it. We use the letter C to represent circumference. C for circumference. C equals pi. We finally get to use pi. This is the symbol for pi. Pi times diameter. D stands for diameter. So first let's talk about what those two things are. Pi is a number that represents the relationship, let me write this out, the relationship between circumference and diameter. And we'll talk about what these things mean in just a moment, what diameter is, if you don't already know. The relationship between the circumference and the diameter. That's just a random fact that you need to know, or that you don't need to truly know, but what you do need to know is that you always use 3.14 for pi. If you look it up, pi is a number. It's 3.1415, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on forever. It's an endless number. It's an irrational number because it never ends and does not repeat. So therefore, pi is, we just abbreviate it, and we use 3.14 to abbreviate it. Then, the last thing you need to know that I didn't include on these side notes is the diameter. D equals diameter in your formula, and diameter is spelled D-I-A and then meter, M-E-T-E-R, diameter. And the diameter is the distance across the circle. So if this is my circle, the diameter is from here to here. It's just like if you cut the circle in half. This line is my diameter. Okay, and then there's another term that we use when we have when we have a circle and we only have half the distance from the middle to the edge. This right here, this little half line, is called a radius. And sometimes when we're talking about circumference, some people use the formula C circumference equals 2 pi r. But this formula right here, C equals pi times diameter, is the same thing because 2 of the radius, 2 of these half radius or radii changes or makes it a diameter. Think about it. If you have one here, let me change my color. This is one radius, and, oh, that's not my color. There it is. You have one radius, and then you have another radius over here. That gives you one diameter. From here to here gives you the diameter. So some people use this formula for circumference. I just prefer this formula. They both get you the same answer, but this has less less variables in it, and it's easier for me to remember. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the steps on how to find the circumference of a circle. There's only 2. It's really simple. I hope that you find it simple as well. The first one is to first, easy, find the diameter, just the distance across the entire circle. Then next, you multiply the diameter by pi, and then you're done. That's it. Very, very simple. So again, the diameter is the distance across the entire circle, and that gives you the circumference once you multiply it by pi, and it gives you the distance all the way around the circle. So here's our practice. Let's go ahead and find the circumference of the following circles. Let's look at the red one first. The red one, it has a diameter of 3 inches. So we know what a diameter is now. A diameter goes from here to here. It goes all the way across the circle, cuts it right in half, and this tells us that it's 3 inches. That's important. So from this dot to this dot is 3 inches. I'm just gonna, oh, that's a bad dot. 3 inches. Okay, so I have 3 inches across. So my first step, find the diameter. Well, they told us the diameter right here. Don't make it difficult. They gave it to us. That means we are happy. We don't have to find anything complicated. They told us the diameter is 3. Then our next step, multiply the diameter by pi. Please use a calculator for this if you're not comfortable with multiplying decimals. Grab a calculator. Mine's opening right now. And we're going to do the diameter of 3 multiplied by 3.14 because we always use 3.14 for pi. 3.14 equals 9.42. So our final answer right here is 9.42. And this is not our complete answer because we still need to include our label, and our label is inches. So you can write inch or IN right here, inches. And do you remember when we're talking about area, how we have to do inches squared, or if we're talking about volume, we have to do inches cubed? Well, with circumference, we don't have to do any of that. It's just inches. There's no squaring or cubing of the answer. You just have your plain old simple answer, 9.42 inches. That's it. So let's try another one, the green circle. This one, we still the same thing, find the diameter. So this one, be careful, they gave you the radius of 4 inches. Do you remember the radius is only halfway across the circle? It goes until here, halfway. Okay, so I know that from here to here is 4 inches, from right here to the middle is 4 inches. So if I use, let me grab a different color. If I know that from here to here is 4 inches, from here to here, since it's a circle, must also be what? 4 inches. From here to here is 4 inches, and from here to here is 4 inches. The radius is exactly halfway in the middle, so I just know that if this is 4, the other side's also going to be 4. So 4 plus 4 to give me the diameter, because remember the diameter is all the way across the circle, not just halfway. So I need to add these two numbers together. That gives me 8. So 8 equals my diameter. Okay, if you lost me on that, let me just tell you what I did one more time. The radius is only halfway across the circle. I need to go all the way across the circle. So I did 4 plus 4, that gave me 8, and now I have my diameter, my full distance across the circle, this full red line. Okay, so now I found my diameter, check, and I just need to multiply the diameter by pi. So I'm going to do 3.14. My computer's slowing down a little bit. 3.14 times 8 gives me, and I'm just going to grab my calculator, do it on my calculator, 3.14 times 8 gives me 25.12. So my final answer, 25 and 12 hundredths. And this is also in inches. So we just need inches. And remember, we don't need anything else after that. So this is just my final answer. That's it. And let's go ahead and move on to the blue circle. The blue circle tells us that the diameter is 0.5 millimeters. So that's all we need to know. Remember, going back to our directions, find the diameter, multiply the diameter by pi, and we're done. So the diameter is 0.5. So using our formula, C circumference equals pi, this is the symbol for pi, pi times diameter. So C equals 3.14, because we know what pi is, we know it's 3.14, times diameter, oops, that's a 4 by the way, times the diameter, which is 0.5. And now I just need to solve for it. So I'm going to grab my calculator, 3.14 times, oops, not 3, 4, times 0.5 equals 1.57. So circumference equals 1.57, or 1 and 57 hundredths. And this one is in millimeters, so we can use the millimeters, and that's all we need. All right, so again, just remember, this is the symbol for pi. D just represents the diameter. Sometimes on your homework, it might not tell you, right, like I did, the radius is 4 inches or the diameter is 0.5 millimeters. Sometimes it will give you a circle, just like this middle blue one, and it'll just have the line all the way across, and it'll just say 7. And you'll know that that you'll be able to recognize that this is the diameter and that the measurement must be 7. And if it doesn't tell you inches, don't worry about it. Just solve for what the circumference is without worrying about the measurement. And then don't forget that sometimes they will give you just the radius, the halfway point, and let's say that this one is 3. And you'll need to double that to also find this space over here, because you need the diameter in order to use the formula. C equals pi times diameter. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is on the back of this paper or somewhere on the sides of this paper, draw a circle. This is your turn to practice. Draw a circle and draw a red line across the diameter, just to show me you know where it is. Draw a circle and draw a yellow line across the radius. Draw a circle and draw a blue line around the circumference. That should not take you very long. And then I want you to tell me, what would the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 4 centimeters be? What would it be? Just go ahead and solve that and tell me. And then lastly, I want you to complete the worksheet that is on Teacher Ease and bring it to class tomorrow. Please feel free to use a calculator if you need to. That's totally okay. Don't forget to be careful with your decimals as you type into your calculator. So complete that worksheet. It's going to be on Teacher Ease, and I'll also throw it up on my website for you. And bring both these notes and that worksheet to class tomorrow. I hope you had a great spring break, and I'm looking forward to doing some fun geometry with you guys this week. Talk to you soon.